You are the reason you're broke. There's no better time than right now to make as much money as you want inside of service-based businesses. You're not willing to do the ugly jobs to make that pretty money. One of the major pieces to me is understanding that empowerment can lead to entitlement. You have to be careful who you empower, because the wrong people will find that entitlement inside of that, and it can start to become a cancer inside your business, as they kind of forget that you're the owner or you're the CEO, and they start to believe that they've actually created this thing. Why did you choose roofing over any other industry? Roofing to me is a sales and marketing business. It's about building teams, building culture, building process and systems. Yeah, we do roofs, but to me, it's the most simple vehicle there is to create a multi-million-dollar business. Dreams don't work unless you do. Why have you not taken the first step to your success? Because the thing that's holding you back is the one thing you're not doing. Action is something that you can show up and control every day. If you do not take action, you will not see results. Take action. So many people set a ceiling for themselves, and it's not because they don't want more for themselves, because they don't know that they could have more for themselves. Right? Until you put yourself around people that can expose you to new levels, you don't understand what you're capable of. Because until you see people achieving things that you didn't think were possible, you're not going to believe in what's actually capable for you. So there's three things that you need to focus on as a business owner. Anyone actually, right? You need to focus on the decision that you're making, the certainty behind the decision, and the action you're taking to follow that decision. What I mean by that is I see so many owners, they have this analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis stage, right? They have an idea, a concept, something they want to try, but they want to get all of the details first. They want to make sure the minutia, this, that, the ins and outs, how's it going to work? What's it going to look like? And next thing you know, they've drug their feet and they've lost the opportunity, right? There's an opportunity cost in everything that you do. And so when you get an idea, how quickly can you get from decision to certainty and belief in that decision, right? Knowing that, hey, everyone else might think you're crazy, but you think you're right. And then how fast can you act on that to implement that decision with the certainty that you have? That's a recipe for success. If I can help, kids, high school, college, to help them see that you don't have to be your circumstance. You don't have to be your situation. You can literally be anything that you want to be. As cheesy as it sounds, it's true, right? It's just you just have to learn how to get around the right people and just create an unfuckwithable mindset. God's going to align you and have you doing the things that He knows you're best at. He's always going to be putting you in that seat as long as you're doing the things that you need to be doing. The devil's the one telling you that you need more. Do this, do that, right? The faith-based side of you has to continue to pull yourself back out of it and say, no, man, that's not true, right? If I'm not doing these things today, my business isn't going to crash. God didn't say, dude, if you don't get up and you work 12 hours a day, you're going to fail. We say that. Too often we dilute business and want to separate it into all these categories. And at the end of the day, business revolves around the Moss method: marketing, operations, sales, and service. If every single day you're evaluating your business and you're looking at it and you're thinking about ways to improve it, keep it simple: marketing, operations, sales, and service. Who are you marketing to? What's your operations flow like? What are you selling? Which product? And then how are you servicing your clients, right? Back-end, administrative, support. If you can focus on those four things, every business you have can become simple. Look at your product and think to yourself, am I selling them the bridge or am I selling them the result? Am I showing them, hey, I can get you across this bridge that you can help make yourself more money? Because everything in marketing and sales is simple, right? It's really about status. It's about power. It's about money. It's about relationships. It's those things, and it doesn't change. Everybody really wants the same thing, just looks a little different. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. I see a lot of people have an expectation and an unrealistic reality of the things that they actually want versus what they're willing to actually do. If you want great things in your life, you got to do great things. It is so difficult sometimes to empower or lead or give to certain people because we're always looking at how is it going to give me an ROI? How am I going to invest this time into an individual and make sure that I'm going to get a return off of that? And although we always want and we hope that the people that we invest our time into will give us a return, we have to understand that it's not always from the individuals that you're giving to that you will see your returns from. So as long as you lead, as long as you empower, as long as you help to grow your people, it will always come back around to you in some way, whether it's universe or God. When you give, you will most certainly get.
You can literally make a living from being a resource.
Yeah.
When you can tap into that and realize that, like, dude, you can literally make money by just connecting one person with another person, providing value. Like, when you can see that, it's like, dude, if you were just a guy that can talk to people and be a homie, bro, you'll get far.
Yeah.
And do the right thing.
I agree.
So I get a lot of questions. People want to know how to start a business. I think a lot of times we overcomplicate it, and so I want to talk about the 3 ways to start your business today. Step 1, get on your local Secretary of State. Now it's going to be different from state to state, right? Everyone's going to have a different website. I believe as ours is Ohio SOS. What you want to do there is look for business names, right? You can get on your Secretary of State and type in any business name that you might want, and it'll tell you if there's one that's local to your state. That way you're not wasting your time back and forth trying to create your name. So get on your Secretary of State and see if your names are in there. Step 2, this is an affiliate of Zen Business or nothing like that, but that's just been the easiest way for me. It's cost you about $148, right? You're gonna pay for your filing fee and your business documents. Step 3, your IRS, right? And in there, this is gonna allow you to get your EIN. And you literally can just apply directly for it, put in a few step-side questions that it'll ask you, so you can literally start your business today for $148. And there's plenty of other ways to do it. I know that you can go in there, you can file yourself. This, to me, it takes about 10 minutes to do it. Time's money, so I want to get it done quick. Secretary of State, Zen Business, IRS.gov. One of the quickest ways to get to where you want is to talk about your goals. So many people are scared to voice their goals. Right? I've been talking about my goals forever. Whether people around me thought I was crazy or not, guess what? I've accomplished them. Because I'm not scared to express them to the universe. I'm not scared to pray about them. Right? Whether it's a material item, right, or an accomplishment, you have to talk about the things that you want. Because if you ain't talking about it, no one's gonna know you want it. Right? You keep it all bottled up. If you keep it all bottled up, it's probably because you're scared to tell people about it. You're scared for people to think you're crazy. Right? You're dreaming too big. That's what you want people to say. Right? Because if they ain't telling you you're dreaming too big and you're trying to do too much and you're unrealistic, then you ain't trying. So if you want to get where you want to get to, you've got to voice them. You got to talk about them. Put yourself in circles with people that support the goals that you want. Get around people that sound crazy to other people too. Because guess what? I got a lot of those friends, and a lot of them friends, they've gotten the things they want. And I've gotten what I've wanted. So I'm telling you, don't be scared to voice what you want. Talk about it all the time, out loud. People need to hear what you want, because you never know where you're going to have a conversation with somebody. You tell them, oh man, I would love to buy a Rolex. You start talking to them about that, next thing you know, they might know somebody. They might have an opportunity for you. You have to constantly be finding the resources in your relationships. And by voicing the things that you want, it's going to get you that much closer to it. Because you ain't talking about it, nobody knows. So I was in the airport the other day, and I had passed by a couple people having a conversation. This girl was talking about, this car that she had paid for, and, what a piece of junk it was, and just all of these things, right? And it's like and this isn't to diminish anybody, right? But I overheard their conversation and it sounded negative, right? It sounded like a person that wasn't very happy in their life. And it instantly made me think, what conversations are you having? Whether it's the people you're having conversations with or the conversations you're having with yourself. Because you got to be careful. Because the conversation that you're having with yourself, you got to remember that you're always listening. So what are you saying to yourself about you? Because whatever it is, you're right. Content is king. In a world of instant gratification, people want to see you, they want to see what you're like, they want to see what your business is like. You need to be posting daily, getting your people to post daily, and making sure that everybody knows what business you're in. When they think of your business, they need to think about you.
So I think we hear all the time, right? Invest in yourself. Investing in yourself is going to get you to where you want to be the quickest. But what does investing in yourself look like, right? How do you invest in yourself? What skill sets do you invest in to even help to project you to where you want to be, right? One thing that I've realized is that majority of my best friendships I've paid for, right? I think that people don't understand that, right? They think that, oh man, someone's going to take money from you, then they don't want to help you. They don't want to be your friends. Like, no, there are so many people out there that are at such a high level that they don't have time to waste their time on people that are tire kickers, right? If you're not willing to invest into yourself, then why would they be willing to invest in you? And for a majority of those times, every single time that I have invested and I've showed up, I've paid for a seat to that table. Once I've sat there, I've brought my value, right? If you don't bring your value to the table, you ain't ever going to have a seat. Whether you're paying for it or not, if you want to get in front of good people, valuable people, people that have assets, resources, things that can get you to the next level, you got to pay for it. That's just what it is.
So I had someone reach out to me the other day and they had a bunch of great ideas that I should have in my business. It reminded me of back when I used to work at the bar for my uncle, right? I'd come in, I've had all these ideas, all these things that I thought we could do. And my uncle said, man, those are great. But what are you doing with them? Right? He said, man, I'm running a business. I don't need another idea. Right? And so I encourage you that if you've got ideas, if you bring to your boss or ideas of things that you want to implement, right? Don't just come up with the idea, come up with the way to integrate it, right? An idea is nothing with no integration. That's what you got to do. You got to find out how to integrate your ideas. Now you're valuable to the business that you're in, to your own business, to those around you. A lot of people got good ideas. They don't make nothing off a good idea. They make money off of the implementation of the idea. The top 3 things that you need to focus on when starting your business, and it's not about the business, it's about you. You need to make sure you're focused on your self-belief, right? What do you think that you can achieve? There's a thing with a lot of great entrepreneurs where they're almost delusional because they believe they're so much greater than they are yet. But they gotta be there to step into that. 2, consistency and discipline. Most people need a fucking manager. Most people are used to working a 9-to-5 structure. And so when you step out to be an entrepreneur, things are all over the place. It's on you, it's hectic, right? Now it's time for you to build your discipline and consistency, because to be able to build a business and a culture, your consistency is what's gonna bring confidence to your people. And 3, the adversity that you're gonna face from others. Now it's not that they don't believe in you, it's not that they don't love you, but they're going to project their fears on you because they've never been willing to step out and do the things that you're about to do. So 1, self-belief in you. 2, consistency and discipline. And 3, adversity from others. You focus on those 3 things, you got a successful business.
See, at this point in my life, I realized that to be successful, you've got to become a student of it. And what has helped me to understand this and learn from is that experience is the greatest teacher. Yet only a fool would choose to only learn through personal experience. One of the first things I work on my consulting clients with is helping them understand who they are. Right? Too often we get so far down the road and in the weeds of the business itself. Right? Business is simple. People are complicated. And so as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you need to understand what are your skill sets. What is your unique ability? What are the things that get you fired up? What are the things that you feel like you could do and time just flies by? Those are the things that you need to focus on. So often we're putting so much time in the things that we're not good at, the things that we don't like to do, because we haven't figured out ways to delegate that, or we haven't even identified what those things are. And so what I encourage them all to do is build out a quadrant, right? We're gonna have unique ability, excellent, good, and not good, right? What are the things that are your unique ability that get you the most fired up, that get you the most excited, that you would literally do no matter what you had to do? And then what are the things you're not good at? Majority of my clients are spending 45 to 60% of the time in the things they're not good at. And so you need to identify those things and then figure out ways to then delegate and create systems to allow you to get into that unique ability. There's a saying called leaders lead. It don't matter what you're doing. I don't care if it's a sales process. I don't care if it's people. You lead. So when you lead with attitude and excitement,
you can't help but not follow that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you go to someone, it's like, my name's Mike with Columbus Roofing Company. I noticed you had some shingles, missing off your roof. No, I'm good, thank you. Right? Versus like, hey, how are you doing today? I'm Mike with Columbus Roofing Company. Bro, you hit them with that, they're like, dang. I see so many business owners drag their feet on creating core values. They're waiting for the business to be successful and have 20 people underneath them before they start to focus on core values. The problem is if you don't start with core values, if you don't start with the things that are most important to you, then you're gonna start to build a culture that doesn't look like you, right? So build your culture around your core values. Identify what those 3 to 5 things are that get you fired up, that exemplify the human being and the person that you are. Integrity, character, creativity, right? What are these things that you feel like are pieces of you that you want to make sure your business exemplifies? So we just wrapped up day 1 of the Blue Collar American Dream Conference. I'm excited to get to speak tomorrow. But one of the biggest takeaways I'd have to say so far was just the amount of knowledge and education that so many of these great speakers bring to the table. And, if you're not where you want to be and you're trying to grow your business or improve your personal development, you have to get around people that are doing the things that you want to be doing, right? It's ignorant to want to do the things yourself or think that you have to compete with other people in the same industries, because there's so much abundance out there. And the second that you can understand that and realize that the information is what's going to get you there faster versus the action, you'll grow and you'll grow fast. One thing that I want to share is not allowing your deficiencies to define you. And deficiencies aren't always a physical thing, right? Deficiencies can be your family, where you grew up, right? We all have a battle or something that we had to get through, right? A test. You gotta have a test to have a testimony. And what's helped me is, you have to own where you're at. You gotta own it, you gotta reframe it, and you gotta proclaim it, right? So owning, hey man, this is where I come from, this is who I am, reframing it by saying, I'm gonna use it to create my story and empower those around me, and then proclaim it, make the statement of what you wanna do, and do it. Lee said something, he said that risk is the down payment for success. Right, so many people, when they think about risk and, I don't wanna step out and do too much and things go upside down, whatever it might be, right? And my thought on that is like, it's never risk when it's followed by action, right? Because you can control the action. You can control how you show up. You can't control what happens when you take the risk, but I believe that every time when you show up after taking the risk, it always works out. Last year when I came to this event, it was in May of last year, our company had only done $90,000 to date, company total revenue. And we're coming back this year with a full team, and we're actually at a collective total of about 8 million. Just from the start of the business to now. So in about a 17, 18 month span, we've been able to create $8 million in revenue. And we went from 2 people when I was here last year. Now we've got about 25 employees. One of the greatest things about coming to these masterminds is the people that you connect with, right? Obviously, the crowd's great and the speakers are great, but when you get to connect with people that are vibrating on such a high level and just kind of mastermind with them and pick their brain and ask questions, it truly will help to set you up for what's to come. If you're not pushing your content, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? We talk about spending money on marketing and running ads and doing all of this, and we hesitate to do those things because they cost money, but social media doesn't cost you anything. And even if it's just a personal camera, get it out, record your stuff. People need to know you, like you, trust you to buy from you. And you gotta build that trust by continuously giving them insight into your life. Don't undervalue or underestimate going live or posting, once a day, making content. A lot of times we think about content and it's, what do we write on? What do we do? What do we record about? And it's simpler than that, because it's literally people just need to see what your life looks like. The more that they can just see you, they're gonna relate to you. So don't worry about the content, worry about just getting it out and they'll come. So there's a difference between the people that you start a business with and the people that you grow a business with. A lot of times when you are starting your company out, the people that you start with sometimes will have a sense of empowerment or entitlement because in their minds, since they were there since the beginning, it might not have been their idea, but they were there from the start. It kind of becomes their business. versus the people that you grow your business with. Those are the people that are grateful to be there. They come in and they see the opportunity of something that you've created. They're not looking to come in and make it theirs. They're looking to come in, improve what you've already built and make it ours. Pay attention to who you start with and who you grow with.
I saw that Instagram reel. You were on the way to the NHL.
I would like to think that, right? But I mean, I did have some college offers to go on and play at school, and my last year had multiple offers on the table. I got hurt, and they pulled my scholarships. And I mean, that was kind of the start, right? That was like this spiral, because it was like, I'm from Wheeling. I was this guy that finally got there. It was 2 or 2.5 years of grinding, right? And finally, my last year, I got a coach that recognized me, a coach that believed in me, the first person that saw more in me than I saw for myself, right? And I'm like, finally, dude, everything's aligned. And then boom, hurt 8 weeks in, the whole year was done for me.
So we just landed down, back in the city, back to Columbus, and what a great week it was. We were supposed to come home on Tuesday, ended up pushing the flights back till Thursday today, just because it was so hectic, right? You go through these masterminds and you experience all this and all this information that you're taking in, and a lot of times, as soon as you're done, you jump right back into it and you're back to work. Usually when I've traveled, if I land and it's still midday, I get in the truck and I head to the office. And this week, or this time, I said I was gonna be a little bit different. I ended up pushing my stay a couple days back. I know it's scary to walk away from your business. Believe me, I am one of the ones that it's extremely difficult for me to step away and take time for myself and think that things are going to get better. But I can honestly say that just in the time that I've been gone, the team was able to pick up momentum that I didn't have to bring to the table. And sometimes our teams, our people become reliant on their leader, because leaders always lead. They're always used to taking control and taking care of things when they need to. And so when they're away for an extended period of time, it forces people in the business to step up as well, because they're going to try to fill that the space that's there. I challenge you as a business owner to take some time, reflect, step away from your business, and allow your people to step up. Don't always take the light and make sure it's shining on you. Sometimes people just need you to give them a little bit of it to make it shine. If Tom Brady would have always played like the 243rd pick, he wouldn't have had, what, 6, 7 NFL championships? Because eventually he wasn't that guy anymore. But he had to be that guy for the first 2 or 3. He had to play like that same guy. He had to have that energy. He had to think like, dude, it's me against the world. When something bad happens, I'm fucking pissed because I gotta get myself out of where I'm at. But eventually you gotta transition and start to realize that like, you ain't that guy anymore. Yeah. All of those bad things got you to exactly where you needed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. On purpose, for a purpose, bro. Giving up power. When we start a business, we are wearing so many hats. And sometimes we get caught up in that and thinking that we can only do things that need to get done correctly inside of our business for our business to continue to grow. But what happens is we're so spread out and going so many different directions that we end up dropping the ball in the areas that we're best at. And so it's focusing in on what are your skills, what are you great at, how can you delegate the rest of that, and understanding that 70 or 80% almost as good as what you were doing is 100% better than you actually doing it. Someone's out there beating you and doing better than you. They had a harder life than me, right? I'm like the kind of guy where it's like, yeah, I mean, I feel bad for myself, but then I think about it and it's like, man, you feel bad for the guy with no shoes till you see him do it with no feet. There's always someone that's got it worse. We don't realize how we always try to justify our stories so that we tell ourselves it's not as bad as it really was, but it's all relative because your worst experiences is your worst experiences. No different than somebody else's. It's not a cock measuring contest of who has the hardest life. Everything that you've been through is something that has affected you. And so when I'm going through this with her, she's like, think about it, close your eyes and think about that time where that 8-year-old version of you that you could step up and just put your arm around him and be like, dude, it's okay, man. Start with the end in mind. I know when starting a company, it can be really hard to imagine what things could look like 1 year, 3 years, 10 years from now. But if you don't start with the end in mind, your team will not all be going the same way. You will not all be rowing the boat the same direction, because if you don't have the vision created for the people, they'll have no idea where they're going. And if you don't create the vision for yourself, you will have no idea where you're going. So start with the end in mind, at least some type of framework around where you would like to see your business financially, the size of your company, the people, what it looks like, what it feels like. When you can start to create the certainty of what that future looks like, you start to create a memory of that future. I continue to preface this and talk about this because so often we want to get so far down the road, right? We want to build a business, we want to have all these things and people working for us and structure and all of this stuff. None of that works unless you are the most dialed in person in your business. Because business is simple. People are complicated. You are complicated. You're not a machine. So getting yourself dialed in, consistent, and disciplined, that is going to be the key to accomplishing exactly what you want. Most of us are so used to the 9 to 5. When you come from a 9 to 5, you're used to somebody else creating that structure for you. You're used to somebody else really telling you when to get to work, when to leave from work, what to do. Your day is so designed, like no different than when you're in school or when you're in college. Our whole lives are so structured that when it comes time to step into entrepreneurship, we're kind of lost because no one's telling you what to do anymore. You have to rely on you. You have to make sure that you're waking up on time. You have to start to create times and tranches and ways to accomplish exactly what you want. One of the most important things is getting that morning routine dialed in. There's a lot of people out there that, get up and make your bed and wash your dishes and, all of these things, but I promise you that's not what creates success. What creates success is certainty. You have to know that you are going to show up for you. Think about all the time that you told yourself you were going to do something and then you didn't do it. You feel that? It hurts. You let yourself down. And when you're into entrepreneurship, when you let yourself down, now it's not just you. Now you have a team of people that you start to let down. So creating that certainty is crucial to create it first thing in the morning. If making your bed makes you certain that you're gonna have a good day, make your bed. But those things won't make you successful. What's going to make you successful is in here. It's inside of you. Figure out that morning routine. For me, I also like to have some type of training, something that I'm pushing myself every day to just get a little better on. Because if you get 1% better every day for the whole year, you won't be 365% better. You will be 500+% better because of the natural compounding effect. Adversity. It's not just you getting adversity, because you're gonna have hardship. I know that I speak of, hey, we can create in the likeness of God. That's what we have been created from. So there's no reason that you can't tap into this version of you that already exists. He's there. That $1 million version of you, you are that. Just haven't found them yet. These things that you're going to unlock going through all of these series and the things that we're talking about are the things that's gonna help you get there. So I think when we hear adversity, we think, oh man, I'm gonna run into hardships. Sometimes hardships are going to be disguised as the people we love the most. I said it. Sometimes hardships are going to be disguised as the people you love the most. I believe that deep down, the people that love you and care about you, they want you to be successful. But the problem is that the majority of them have only seen the level of success that they have or the level of success that they've been exposed to. It's not out of evil that they don't want you to be successful. Their fears are being projected onto you. They're scared for you because of their fear. You have to give them grace, but they're going to challenge you. They're going to tell you that it's too much for you. Don't take on this risk. Don't pull that debt. And don't leverage your credit cards to start a business. Don't give up a 401k. Don't give up insurance. You're going to hear all of these things because guess what? They've been too scared to try. Our belief system is essentially our taught system. Everything that you believe has been taught to you at a certain age. Everything that you believe has been taught to you from your parents or your parents' parents or the people around them. Your own belief systems are rarely a belief that you've actually created for yourself. Sometimes we might get into some things here and you're going to find it hard to believe. When I tell you, man, I think that you have everything that it takes right now to tap into that and become that person. Can you see that person? Can you envision that person? Mike, this is hocus pocus. It's worked. It's worked for me. It's worked for the people around me, but it's getting not only out of where you're at, but getting in front of the people that start to see that of you. The hardest thing is going to be that the people that you love the most may not support you. They're going to tell you not to do it. And this isn't for everybody. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be friends that have told you you're changing. You're changed, man. They're not the same you. All the work that I've put in, if I was the same me, then I just did a bunch of shit for nothing. You're not here to be the same you. Just because they want to stay the same them does not mean that you have to stay the same you. We talk about this because it is so hard. I've seen so many people quit because of everyone around them. If you are here, you believe that you possess greatness. I believe that you possess greatness. So one of the most important things as you get into entrepreneurship is discovering your structure, right? You have to create an expectation of your schedule, because if not, you're going to think that every opportunity is an opportunity. You're going to say yes to everything that presents to you, and you have to say no. You have to lock in. You have to execute a schedule to be successful. What I mean by that is you need to pick days that are going to be days that you're going to be focused on generating leads, networking, meeting people. That needs to be a day. You need to focus on what days am I growing my business, whether it's processes and systems creating, or what days am I focused on building out the sales process. Or what day am I inspecting deals? What day am I repairing things? You have to be able to take your schedule and map it out every week before the week starts. You know, what is something I think entrepreneurs could be doing to accelerate their path? First, I feel like you have to have the understanding there are seasons that you're gonna have to be consuming knowledge. And there's gonna be seasons that you have to be taking action. Too often, I think we get frustrated with ourselves, or at least I know that I do, where I'm like, man, I'm not learning enough. But this might be a season of my life where it's all action is what needs to be taken care of. Yeah, I might be at a time where I consumed a bunch of knowledge, I got some good ideas, and now I'm implementing them, and I'm struggling to continue to read and study and do all these things because of that massive action. Well, now I've got a whole plate of things that I got to be doing now. We underestimate consistency. We're in this generation of hustle. Gonna go out, you see guys put in 10 hours doing this, but how often do they do it? How often can you continue to show up at that level? Eventually, by being consistent, you're going to expand your capacity and raise that ceiling and break through new thresholds. But if you're always up, then down, and up, then down, then you're never going to. And it's being able to show up consistently, day in, day out, right? It's the law of accumulation. And the law of accumulation is you continue to just do the same thing, that boring, that mundane thing. You do it day and day and day and day. Eventually, you're getting better by 500% because the law of the compound effect is what's going to start to kick in as you consistently show up and do the same thing over and over and over again. When you can commit to something and then show up enthusiastically over and over and over and over again, people are going to have a hard time to tell you no. Because what happens with commitment and consistency, the people around you will start to find comfortability. The people around you will start to find their level of comfort around you, knowing that they can rely on you because you do the things you say you're gonna do. You show up committed, you show up consistent. Most people don't have anybody in their life that's consistent. Think about family, friends. Year over year, how many people in your life have shown up consistently over and over and over again? Business is too volatile to have people that are also volatile. There's a lot of people that we know that are very reactive. Something happens and it's immediately, they have a response, they're triggered, emotion levels are high. When you're in that state, you're not gonna be able to think clearly and make decisions clearly. And especially in business, I had a partner that I was working with and things just weren't going well. And it would just be like, it would be great, but then as soon as something would happen, it was a trigger, it was an emotional reaction, and now all of a sudden everything that we built just kind of broke. When it comes to clarity, it's about having that vision, the concept of starting with the end in mind. So many of us never even think of things from the end in mind. I wasn't even introduced to this concept until I heard Rob Dyrdek on a podcast talking about it in a book that's literally called Start with the End in Mind. And being able to start with that end in mind and understanding that it can still pivot. Things can still change. It's not always going to be, hey, here's what I'm saying where I'm going to be in 10 years. And if I'm not there, I failed. Well, that's not the case because things change, you evolve, circumstances, everything happens. But when you can start with the end in mind, you start to act like the person that would be that end result person for you. I think that just courage is one of those things that we underestimate. It's just that it's such a simple thing, but most people don't have it because most people aren't willing to see what happens if they were wrong. What happens if I put myself out there? What happens if we've done all these things we've done and this company fails? What are people going to say about me? I don't know. I have the courage to say I'm going to give it everything that I've got because risk is a factor in the decisions and courage and things like that, but it's always backed by the action. And can you take that leap of faith, that leap of courage, and then back it with massive action? So I always hear people say, how do you find good reps, right? You hear people talk about it all the time. There's nowhere to find good people anymore. No one wants to work. I 100% disagree with that. I just don't think you've built a business cool enough that people want to go to. And for me, I'm always recruiting. I don't care if I'm at dinner, if I'm at a bar, if I'm at a gas station. Anytime I see somebody that just exceeds the expectations, I try to set up a call with them to see if they want to come work for me. So this is a guy connected with last night at dinner. He actually is a real estate agent. He just moved here 3 months ago. No real friends, just has his girlfriend here. Overheard me talking about business at dinner last night and, asked me, hey man, what do you do? Told him what I did. And I said, hey man, listen, I'm gonna reach out to you, get you set up, maybe you can come in, see if we got a good fit for you. Reading books does not make you money. Implementing books make you money. I see so many people believe that they have to finish every book they start. What I encourage my people to do is read a book, get what you need out of it, and then implement it. You don't need to finish it, right? If you finish up a chapter and there's something that you can immediately add to your business, do that. That is going to give you more value than reading the entire book just to say you read the book and you finished it. So stop wasting time reading a book,
and start spending time implementing the things that you read.
When you can commit to something and then show up enthusiastically over and over and over and over again, people are going to have a hard time to tell you no. Because what happens with commitment and consistency, the people around you will start to find comfortability. The people around you will start to find their level of comfort around you, knowing that they can rely on you because you do the things you say you're gonna do. You show up committed, you show up consistent. Most people don't have anybody in their life that's consistent. Think about family, friends. Year over year, how many people in your life have shown up consistently over and over and over again? Business is too volatile to have people that are also volatile. There's a lot of people that we know that are very reactive. Something happens and it's immediately they have a response, they're triggered, emotion levels are high. When you're in that state, you're not gonna be able to think clearly and make decisions clearly. And especially in business, I had a partner that I was working with and things just weren't going well. And it would just be like, it would be great, but then as soon as something would happen, it was a trigger, it was an emotional reaction, and now all of a sudden everything just that we built just kind of broke. When it comes to clarity, it's about having that vision, the concept of starting with the end in mind. So many of us never even think of things from the end in mind. I wasn't even introduced to this concept until I heard Rob Dyrdek on a podcast talking about it in a book that's literally called Start with the End in Mind. And being able to start with that end in mind and understanding that it can still pivot. Things can still change. It's not always going to be, hey, here's what I'm saying where I'm going to be in 10 years. And if I'm not there, I failed. Well, that's not the case because things change, you evolve, circumstances, everything happens. But when you can start with the end in mind, you start to act like the person that would be that end result person for you.
Reading books does not make you money. Implementing books make you money. I see so many people believe that they have to finish every book they start. What I encourage my people to do is read a book, get what you need out of it, and then implement it. You don't need to finish it, right? If you finish up a chapter and there's something that you can immediately add to your business, do that. That is going to give you more value than reading the entire book just to say you read the book and you finished it. So stop wasting time reading a book and start spending time implementing the things that you read.
One of the biggest things that I've been able to inspire these guys is it's not about the mic show. Too many of us as owners, we become the face of these companies and then we're stuck inside the company. One thing that's helped us to accelerate our growth has been able to be pulling myself back to educate, inspire, help my people build their personal brands as well. Getting them on the podcast, letting them share their stories. Because if you don't let them share, they're gonna go somewhere else and start to share their story. It's gonna be their business then.
So I think the top businesses to get in as a side hustle, you've got pressure washing. Like I'm sure your parents have a pressure washing laying around. If not, your grandpap does, an uncle does. Find a pressure washer, all you need is water and soap. Another one I'd say would be window cleaning. Like you can literally go out, you can door-to-door sales window cleaning, right? And that's something that, again, you go by someone's house, just look around, landscaping, cut their grass, trim their hedges, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart. I mean, there is an abundant amount of side hustles to get into. One of the hardest parts though is actually just picking one because most people wanna do it all. DoorDash, Instacart, landscaping, window cleaning. Now all of a sudden, each thing is 10th off and you're not giving any effort or full effort to one thing. And so to be able to start a successful side business, commit to one side business, set a number and hit it.
Why do you care about